Hi, 7th graders. We are going to be talking about the percent proportion today. So in class, we've talked about what the percent proportion is. It's this part over whole equal to the percent over 100. Remember, a proportion is an equation, so there's our equal sign, telling us that one ratio is equal to another ratio. Okay, we know that percent means per 100, so the percent will always go over 100. When we solve these problems, even if you have no idea what to do, you should be able to write this proportion down on your paper because they are all going to start the same way. So we are going to start on, this is the back page of the first page of your notes, okay? And so we're just going to look at some quick examples we're going to be setting up, and typically I would have you look for different relationships. Most of these I'll probably solve with cross products though. So even if we know nothing else, if we're setting up a problem, we're going to start with this proportion, okay? First thing I would look for is, do we have a percent? In this case, we have a percent, 42%. I know percents go over 100. The word is, when we say like 2 plus 3 is 5, that's meaning equal. So it's saying what is 42% of 80? So what, I don't know, is equal to 42%. That means that's my part of 80. That word of, whatever follows it, is going to tell us the whole. So this is my proportion. When I solve this, I can use cross products. There's not really any friendly relationships here. So 42 times 80 is equal to 100 times something else. So as a reminder, our cross products say that 80 times 42 has the same value as 100 times something, okay? So when we multiply this, 42 times 80, I get 3,360 is equal to 100 times x. I can divide by 100, and x is going to equal 33.6. So that would be my solution. So 33.6 is 42% of 80. If we look at our next proportion, remember, even if I have no idea what to do, I can start with this setup. First thing I would look for is a percentage. In this case, we have a percent, it's 15. And I know that percents always go over 100. So now I'm going to ask myself, where does that 21 go? Is that the part or that whole? So it's saying 21 is the 15%, or 21 equals the 15%. So that means it's the part of what means I don't know the whole. And then again, this one, there might be some relationships that you see. For the purpose of what we're doing, I'm just going to use cross products. So x times 15 would equal 21 times 100. And so 21 times 100 equals 15 times x. 2100s is 2100. I can divide by 15. And then I'm going to end up getting x is 140. And again, this would just be a quick way to kind of double check. 21 is 15% of 140. Just kind of double check that that seems reasonable and makes some sense. Number 3, 45 is what percent of 150? Start with our proportion. All right, and if we're given a percent, we write that in. But in this case, I don't know the percent. In fact, it's saying what percent. So that tells me that's what I'm solving for. 45 is equal to that percentage though, so that's going to be my part. 45 equals, and then of 150. From here, you could solve it using cross products. You could also do some simplifying with that 45 150ths. But when you solve this one, 4,500 is going to equal 150 times x. So I can divide by 150. And x is going to equal 30. Now in this case I solved for a percent, so I do want to make sure that I put a percent sign on my final answer. So here this is 30%. Another way you could do this, just to give a different strategy, if you look at 45 150ths, I know that I could simplify both of these by 15. and that's going to give me 3/10. And so now if I think 3/10 is equal to what percent? Well, that's 30%. All right. Here we have a word problem. The first step to a word problem is to read it. There are 200 students in the 7th grade class. 98% of the students in the grade are going on the field trip. How many students are going on the field trip? Are we given a percentage? We are. Percent always goes over 100. And then now we need to figure out if that 200 is our part or the whole. So in this case, the 200 is our whole. It's 100% of the kids is another way to think of it. It needs to be lined up with the 100%. We're trying to figure out that part that's equal to the 98%. So in this case, all right, you could always default to your cross products. The cross product method will always work. But in this one, I noticed that 100 times 2 gives me 200. So I'm actually just going to do 98 times 2. To figure out 196 is my answer. Now, because this is a word problem, I also want to double check and ask myself, what does this number represent? So 196 is telling me the number of students going on the field trip. So there's 196 students on the field trip. All right, number 5, a t-shirt at the mall has an original price of $35. It's on sale for 30% off. How much money will you save? Ask yourself if there's a percent. There is. And the original price is $35. And I'm solving for the part that's equal to that 30%. Here's how the proportion would be set up. This would be a good one where if you remember your percent shortcuts, you know how to find 30% of a number. I would do that, okay? So you could find your 10% and multiply it by 3. That strategy would totally work here. We have the percent and we have the whole, so that strategy works. If you're not confident yet with your percent shortcuts, then you could use cross products to solve this proportion. And when you do that, you should get $10.50. Okay, so $10.50 is representing the amount that we're saving. And I want to look at this next one. All right, there are 14 girls who are on the volleyball team. If this represents 25% of the girls who tried out, how many girls tried out for the volleyball team? Well, we have a percent. Percents go over 100. So now I need to figure out, does that 14, is that a part or a whole? Here it says there are 14 girls who are on the volleyball team if this represents 25%. So that's telling me the 14 is the 25%, and we're figuring out how many girls tried out, okay? From here, you could use your cross products. I'm going to highlight a different method. The cross product method would still work if you solved it correctly, but I also noticed that 25 times 4 gives me 100, so I could do 14 times 4, and that would also help me get my answer, which is going to be 56. So that's telling me that 56 girls tried out. All right. Hope you enjoyed those few examples over the percent proportion. Part over whole equals percent over 100. Have a wonderful day.